Now we're rolling.
That's what's up. Party.
Hardy, hardy.
Eric Dansie. What's up, man?
What up, brother? Ryan C. The correct way to pronounce that.
uh
I went
you
to the
can
source and found out, bro.
yeah, that's all you got to do is ask. I've
Just
been called
ask.
so many bad things though. You can't screw that last name up
Oh
worse
yeah.
than
Oh, I'm sure. Butchered.
take the lead, man.
Yeah, so couple drum bros doing drum bro stuff, man.
Chilling. We figured
Yeah, just
I guess
chilling.
I guess we figured
Nothing serious, really.
we're talking on the phone every night for hours on end about drums. We may as well record it.
Yeah. Document some of it. Some of there's some gold in there.
Yeah, there's a little bit of gold. There's some silver. There's
And
some
we both,
bronze.
yeah, man. We both getting older. I don't retain all that stuff like I used to.
Yeah, this
Like
is
I
one
used
of
to.
the few things I wouldn't mind being left behind for my legacy. Drums.
Yeah.
A
I
lot of
mean, for
other stuff
sure.
we could forget about.
But drums
Uh,
have always been a main focal point. So,
man, so like when did you pick it up? Like when did you start playing? Not seriously, but like when would have been the first time that you picked up a pair of sticks?
um, I think my older brother brought home like a snare from middle school band, and he's
When
7 years older than I am. So, like, middle school is what, 12, probably 11, 12. So I was
yeah,
probably like 5 or 6.
yeah.
But my mom was a piano teacher, so I was playing piano at the time. But then once I started getting interested in drums, like I remember opening the case of that and being like, like, what's this? Like thinking around on it. But then
Yeah.
like they got me whatever, like a Sears kit, and then I blasted through that. And
Sears.
yeah,
Holy crap, I miss Sears.
yeah, like the paper bag tops, like
Yes.
you tear through. I mean, yeah, in like a day I would rip through it.
Yeah, the
two
shells are
days,
made out
whatever.
of plywood, basically.
Yeah.
Laminated plywood.
And then I got like a random Wellington was the company, and then the symbols were Camber company symbols, which is super random. I think they were both like Canadian. My mom like got some deal on it, dude. And that was my OG kit for like when I actually started taking lessons and stuff. Well, that was like the kit I like started on, I guess I'd say. Because the other ones were so crappy, like I've just blasted through them.
Would you say were your parents pretty cool about you playing in
Yeah,
the
they were
house
awesome.
at
Yeah.
like all hours? It helps
Yeah,
your
they were
mom is a
always super
musician.
supportive. I mean, my whole family was because my mom always played, dude. So like, yeah, she was always playing, and she taught lessons out of our house. So there was always like piano and music going.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes. Super supportive, it sounds like. Just part of
yeah,
the environment.
yeah. Maybe just like phone calls and crap. I'd be like loud as heck in the basement, and they'd have to like flick the lights to tell me to stop or whatever.
That is
You know?
awesome. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
man. Or like, dude, it's hilarious, dude, because like in high school, I got like a huge PA and then I'd like blast the music and play my drums so loud, dude, because
Yeah.
I could only play loud at the time.
Yeah.
So it was super loud. And then I'd like stop and be picking a new song and I would hear the TV upstairs because my dad would just have it like all the way
Maxed
up,
out.
dude, so he could hear it, man. And I like look back and I'm just like, dude, that's like so cool that they had the patience and just being, he was a mechanic. It's like you probably had a rough day, Dad. And then you just
Yeah.
come
It's the
home and
last
like
thing he
allow
wants to
me
hear.
to, yeah, and allow me to go down there and just sound,
But it
you
was
know.
probably good or they wouldn't have tolerated it.
I mean, they could see I was like obsessed for sure. And
Yeah.
like it was something that I gravitated towards. I wish I wouldn't have quit playing piano, but I don't know. You like what you like type thing.
Yeah. I wish I had the foundational knowledge of play, something like the piano, but
Yeah. Because
the
that's
only
even
other,
like a huge takeaway. Like even when I was a kid, like that is when I started taking lessons and they showing me like quarter notes and eighth notes. It was like, oh yeah,
and it helped you
I
develop an ear and stuff like that.
yeah. But as
Uh,
far as like I wasn't doing it long enough to, and I got out of it quick enough that I didn't like retain enough of the information though, if that makes
right.
sense.
Yeah.
And
You
then I was
probably
a drum set player and didn't want to do it like in band in school. So I would not, I mean, I learned how to play xylophone and crap, but it was never like what I was like, dude, I want that song,
yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't mess with any of that. Mom played the piano, but and she would randomly be jamming like Baptist hymns and stuff that she remembered when she was a kid. I think I told you that before, but that was that and the fact that my grandfather, my dad's dad, played guitar and
Yeah.
he was a killer rockabilly guy. Um
Oh, dude, that's sick.
yeah, he actually played with a band called Joe Bennett and the Sparkle Tones and toured and did the whole thing, but that was like
Nice.
back in the 50s, so they were like on the gymnasium circuit, right?
Yeah.
But back then that was the thing. So he
I
could
mean, those are
jam.
huge rooms, big shows. Go where the people are, right?
I don't think anybody played anything bigger than that
Yeah.
until the Beatles, right?
Yeah.
Even Elvis was gymnasiums. I
Yeah.
could be wrong. I could be wrong about that, but
No, you're right. I think because they kind of kicked off that kind of whole wave. Because then
where
definitely
where it
like,
became necessary to fit more people
yeah.
into a venue to sell and facilitate a big crowd.
Yeah.
Beatlemania, man.
Dude, yeah. Because other than that, it'd be like huge fields, maybe even. And I'm not a historian on any of that. You would probably know better than I. I just remember
I
a
doubt it.
crazy fact about like Grand Funk Railroad having like the attendance record for selling out some, dude, it's like a crazy amount of people in Michigan where they were from.
What
Like
year did
in
what
like in their heyday. It
Grand
was
Funk
like,
Railroad?
bro, it was like pretty mind-boggling when I read it. Like a football sized stadium, bro, of
Right.
people for a freaking Grand Funk Railroad.
Yeah.
Cause like they never get their shine beyond like we're an American band. Well, I guess they do have like some other hits like classic rock would play, but my dad had like a bunch of their albums, and then in particular a live album, and he would always tell me that they were a trio.
So they formed in 1969.
Yeah,
So which was post.
way post where we're talking and Beatles.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. Just for
but they were like
historical
in the
perspective.
same time as like a Zeppelin and like, Beatles, all those 70s guys. And they like
Yeah.
held one of the crazy attendance records for selling out.
I didn't know that,
Yeah.
but I was never into Grand Funk either. I
Okay.
mean, I mean, everybody's heard their stuff, and
Yeah,
you like.
yeah,
I mean, that's one of those bands for me where I hear a song and somebody sort of informs me that was Grand Funk Railroad, and I didn't know. I just you've heard all
yeah.
their stuff, but you don't know who it is. They're just
Dude, bro, it was
in
that live
commercials
album.
and all that. I got to check that out.
It was that live album that got me, bro. A song in particular called Inside Looking Out.
All right.
And it's like, bro.
Let me notate. Let me notate that.
Yeah, I
Inside
got you.
looking
I'll
out.
send you a link too, bro.
I'll check that out. Let's see.
I'll just send it to
That works.
your Apple.
But yeah, I didn't have much exposure to other instruments. My dad played, and so that was kind of how I got into drums. I mean,
Nice.
just um,
Yeah, that's what I
watching
was
him.
gonna ask you, kind of where you, because I remember you told me you started super young, right?
Yeah, technically, I was
Well, as far
definitely.
as kind of finding them, like the same question you posed me type thing, like when you kind of like, yo, this is gonna be my thing.
It's funny because I don't remember. I was that young. I don't remember being loving it, but there's pictures of me as a child doing it.
Yeah.
And
When they're like,
the
you remember that? Like, no.
yeah. but and then dad, I remember dad had a set of Slingerlands. I think they were Radio Kings. They may or may not have been, but it was a double bass black swirl kit that he sold for like $400 in a shotgun. Was the story, because he needed
Yeah.
money and he needed to protect his family, kind of deal, and money
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
tight. So the drums were the first thing to go. And yeah, he got rid of those, but always had a pair of sticks around. So I was wearing out bar stools, couches, pillows, everything that I could beat without getting beat
Yeah.
for do
Right.
for doing it. Uh,
Yep. Like,
and
is
they
this
were,
surface gonna get me in trouble?
yeah, right.
No,
And
they're gonna throw it away anyway.
no, they were so cool about that though. I never had to worry about a thing. Like I used that's the
Yeah,
thing
that's
I say
awesome.
about the bar stools was when I was a kid, I would go watch my uncle play football because he was in high school when I was, like from probably 2 to 6. And I do remember watching the marching band and loving those quads, watching
Oh
dudes
yeah,
play the quads. And there were
for
no
sure.
like, I don't recall any killer players back then, but for some reason that just fascinated me. So I would set up the bar stools that we had like they were quads. And the material of the bar stool was like a wicker, like a woven wicker
Yeah,
deal. So it had a little bit of rebound, but like it felt like a head.
yeah,
The
yeah,
response that you got back, it wasn't wood or anything, like it was wicker. So
yeah.
I got like the feel of,
Somewhat of a spring back.
and it had a tone and all that. So
Oh yeah.
I wore those things out doing, figure just playing.
Mm-hmm.
And then yeah, when I was 12, I guess they were tired of me destroying everything with sticks, and
Mm-hmm. They're
we
like,
went to
bro, we need a solution for our furniture.
and I, they did get me like a junior, like the equivalent to a CB 500 kit or whatever the brand is, when I was 3 or 4. But it was like what you were saying with just like
Where it's
the head,
clearly like a toy.
the heads just,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it was,
I mean,
it
that's a
was,
step up from the one I was telling you about,
it
but
was
yeah.
somewhere, yeah, right. It was somewhere in between a toy and like the real deal. It
Yeah,
didn't come with a hi hat. It had the one symbol in the middle,
yeah.
and like,
Bro.
like
Yeah.
at 6 or 7, I was old enough to dent the head, or like strong enough to dent the heads,
Oh, for sure.
but they wouldn't. I've still got that kit downstairs.
Dude, that's awesome.
Um,
Yeah, some
yeah,
nostalgia pieces is like you can't let go of. Like
no,
drums. I'll sell a lot of stuff before I sell one of my particular drum sets
yep,
that I
yep.
toured all over the country with, and like my grandpa that I was closest to helped me get that one, and like
So
yeah,
you're
and that's
connected like emotionally to certain things like that, like
yeah.
with the I'm the same way,
With
man.
drums, with anything else though, bro, I purge all my belongings besides
Yeah,
like my major like computer or PlayStation. Like if it's clothes or shoes, bro, like
yeah.
nah, man, get that out of here
I've still got my
every few months.
I'm the same way. I still have. I remember Dad took me to Mike Portnoy's drum clinic at the Guitar Center, and at this point, I didn't have my first drum set. I was probably 11 at the time.
Yeah,
I had just discovered Dream Theater, and it blew my mind. So he took me to this clinic, and I talked him into buying a real feel practice pad, and I wore that thing out. But I had left it on top of my car one day going home from school,
oh no,
and it like flew off going down the road, and I
yeah,
didn't even know it. I just got home and didn't have my practice pad, and I thought, well, that was that, or
yeah,
that's that.
that's
And
that, yeah.
on the way back to on the way to school the next day, that thing was laying on the side of the road, and it had broke it in half.
Oh,
And
bro.
but the pad itself was keeping it together,
Yeah,
and like it's totally unplayable, but I still have that thing
still
just
have
because,
that.
and I won't get rid of it because
Yeah,
of the
because you're like, that's a
time
token,
that I
bro.
put. Dude, I
Yeah.
drew all over that thing. It has like every girlfriend's name on it that I had in elementary school.
That's
Like,
awesome. You're like, I'm freaking,
you know how you like tat
yeah,
things
tag
up
it
when you're
up.
a
Yeah,
kid.
tag it up, man.
For sure.
Dude, yeah,
Oh
that's
man.
funny because I have a practice pad. I don't use it anymore either, but it was when Chris Coleman came to school and he played that clinic and it blew my mind. And all I had on me for him to sign that was anything worthwhile was my practice pad. So his signature's on it. And I'm like, yeah, bro, it's Chris Coleman. I'll keep that
Is
pad.
he as big in person as he looks?
So
He
like
looks like a
stature and
football
why?
player.
No, he's big, but he's super short.
Is he?
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
super
because he
short.
sits kind of high. He sits high on his throne, so that makes
Yeah,
sense.
but as
Like,
far
but
as being a solid dude, yeah, that bro is
so he's
super
like a
solid, bro.
fullback or something.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Like give him the ball and he'll wreck people.
yeah, bowling ball. He
Yeah, dude.
wrecks those drums.
And you're
Excuse
right,
me.
he does sit super high, and I think that's why is because I mean drums are so unique in that regard, as far as how it feels setup
Yeah,
wise. Just because you can be the same length, same height, but then like this dude's arms are shorter or his torso's longer or his like yeah. That's why it's like I always explain to like my little kids is like, like form factor instruments, it's a little easier to like know what you're supposed to do compared to a drum set. because I'll show them like how to fix their hi-hat clutch or some crap, and they're like, "What? How does it work?" I'm like, "Yeah, dude, you're gonna have to like get hands-on with this instrument. It's very physical, like every aspect about it. Like your hardware's gonna slip, your freaking cymbal's gonna rotate. Like there's so many things that like,
So many
and obviously I
factors.
don't tell that to all them, but in my head I'm thinking it like, bro, you don't even know like
Yeah.
all the things you're gonna have to deal with in real time,
Well, I mean, and
or
looking
not
back,
even just practicing and find.
100%. But I feel like so much of your success can be dictated by the ergonomics of how you set your kit up
Yeah,
versus your anatomy,
versus your anatomy. Yeah.
and that's different for everybody.
Oh, for
So I
sure.
mean, realistically, it's not like a guitar where you can like there's only so much tolerance to create intonation that you want or
Yeah.
that's optimal for your style of playing. Like
Yeah,
with drums, it's almost a limitless amount of options,
dude.
and it's a I wonder
Literally.
I wonder how like many kids quit because they got frustrated with their ability, and it really came down to ergonomics and how they set their kit up. Because I would see buddies of mine who were trying to get into playing as I grew up, and like look how they would set their drums up and be like that's not how you do that. And then you would watch them play, and it made sense why they were struggling because it's not set up properly for the way that they play
Yeah. Or even
or
what they're trying to accomplish playing wise too.
right.
Like,
Like
and
you're not
it's
going to
like,
try to play a bunch of jazz and set it up like Morgan Rose super flat. You know what I mean?
nah,
Like they
yeah.
need to be tilted so you can execute those licks. But if
Dude,
nobody tells you that, or if that doesn't click for you on your own, then you're like set up for failure out the gate.
out the gate, bro. And like it isn't like a gear talk issue. Like, yeah, a nice gear is cool, but it's literally like an ergonomic, like a setup thing. Cause like, dude, we backline, we played the show. Oh gosh, this is probably 2014. It was like Valentine's Day at this bar in Duluth. And we backlined with another band, and I had to share drums with that band, and he wanted me to play his kit because they were like a tribute band, and it was a crazy like 80s size, similar to like the Yamahas, but there was the Sonar, and literally his first rack tom was bigger than any drum I had on my drum set at the time, bro.
Was he using
Serious.
power toms?
Oh, dude, yes. And
For sure.
they were so high in the air, and then his floor tom was so low, and his snare was so low, his throne was low, and I'm sitting there trying to play songs like "Hot for Teacher" when I'm
Yeah.
6 foot tall, and it's like I'm sitting on a little kid's drum set. The way I was feeling, like my knees were above like my rib cage, and like, dude, it was seriously like
That's
the
problematic.
worst. Oh, bro, like no one in the audience could have told or could have known that I was like up there struggling, but it was like, dude. Like pocket's fine. I can do that. But if I'm trying to do anything else, like I don't play like this. Like, I'm not gonna play pocket like this and then go to my toms like this, bro. Like you
I
can't even
can't
see
believe
my
you're.
hands in my video. That's how he had his crap set up, bro. Like
Did it work for
serious.
him?
Yeah, he kills it.
See, that's funny.
Yeah.
That's exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes as drummers we have to be chameleons to have a gig, you
And I
know.
mean I feel it like the more I talk to people about it, it is drummers, drummer problems, bro. We got them. I know it's great, but it is one of those things where you are very reliant on someone else to help you get your end product out. In the instance of like recording or creating music, right? Because like even if you're presenting a beat, then the other instruments, pitch instruments, melodic instruments, write something to your. If you can't play a pitched instrument, I can sit there and go, yeah, no, it should go like dee 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 dee. But that's not a translation. Like they're gonna eventually come up with a riff that they made to your beats. And then it's vice versa. If someone hits you up, hey bro, I got this song, drum on it for me. So
Yeah.
our relationship with the creative side of like being unless you're like you know, there's very talented drummers that do both, like Sput, Robert Seay from Snarky Puppy. He's like
Yeah.
a great piano player, and then all the Vic Firth live and all of Zildjian live crap, that's all him arranging all those songs and playing keyboard.
I didn't
So
know
I'm
that.
saying, yeah, dude, he's amazing. He's one of my favorites. But it's one of those things where there's an exception to every rule. But if you're just gonna pull a Joe Schmo, dude, like we're talking, like just a random drummer.
Like me.
No, just like
Random guy that, yeah, I know what you're saying
not the
though.
Chris Colemans of the world, like just
The rest
people
of
that
us.
are playing drums. Yeah, man. And like whether you're making money off of it or not, but it's one of those things where unless you kind of take the plunge of being a creative and like learning the melodic side of music and trying to do your own thing, and then you are very reliant on other people. Like we're only self-reliant to a point. Whereas I
Mm,
feel like if I was a guitar player, singer, songwriter, like I would be like, okay, dude, I'm gonna do all this crap, and then it's like
yeah.
on me. Okay, I'll find the drummer, and then he'll track, and then I will mix my song, and then I will. Not that it's like I don't feel a part of creating when I'm in a band setting or stuff like that, but it is just a different relationship with like because I don't play a melodic instrument like that, not up to the level of drums, so I can't express what I actually would want to say in that
Yeah.
setting. If I have the
100%.
time to dink around on my computer and in a DAW and like, okay, what's this MIDI instrument sound like? Oh, dude, that's a cool bass. Okay,
Yeah.
I know a friggin' scale. Okay, I know what notes are in the scale. You know,
Yeah.
I'll dink around and I can create that way, like in a very like just organic kind of finding crap out on my own through like experimentation with trying to get better at it. Basically,
Trial and
just by
error and
trial and error, bro, and using
yeah.
what I do remember from school and my lessons on melodic instruments and because
Yeah.
like
And a lot.
that's my own fault, and I'll be the first to admit it. Is like, dude, I only cared about drum set, bro. Even when I did all the other orchestral instruments, all that, I was like, all I care about is drum set.
I was the
Like, I
same
don't want to
way.
play anything else, dude. Let me play drum set.
Well, we even touched on it a second ago. Like we like guitar riffs. We love guitar tone. We like killer
I wish I could play
vocals.
guitar.
Yeah,
I wish
totally.
I could sing.
But every
Like,
time I've ever picked
yeah.
up a guitar and got to a certain point of efficiency at that instrument, I in the back of my head, I'm thinking I could be playing drums right now. Like
Oh yeah.
I can already say what I'm trying to express on the guitar. Back to your point, I can already express this thing on the drums.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go do that. You know?
And that's where it's kind of you got to just be honest with yourself is like your time spent. It's like, dude, like I already know I didn't practice like the way I should my whole
But
life as far
yeah,
as drumming. So imagine another instrument on top of that. Like your drumming would be that much more taken away from. So you
yeah,
got to kind of look at it through that lens sometimes and be
yeah.
like, all right, bro. Like, but learning another instrument only benefits you as a drummer, I think,
Yes.
to at
No,
least know
a
like one
thousand
other
percent.
instrument.
Or
Even just to get their viewpoint
oh, dude, just
of
what
like where
little?
you should sit in the mix of a drum, you know, you get their perspective of like, dude, why are you bashing your freaking snare, bro? I'm right
Yeah,
here, dude. And we're in this tiny room. Like,
yeah.
stop.
If you become if you become proficient enough at it to be able to play live with a different instrument, I could see where that would totally apply. I have not gotten. I'm not good enough at any other instrument to play live where I have a drummer playing along to me playing any other instrument. But
Yeah, I don't think I've ever been in that setting where I've been forced to. I had to do like some live performance crap with like Ableton, but that was through like a MIDI sampler, and that was by myself too. So like as far as like
but
jamming, I've only ever like dinked around with somebody else, you know, where I'm like, oh dude, let me play the keyboard and let's see. No, I would
yeah,
never say I'm like efficient to like jam or like play a show. But
right,
I'm saying even like just trying to create music though, from my perspective on my own and like being forced to do it in school with like assignments crap where it's like, bro, what? I have to make
yeah,
this song. And it has to be this long and has to have like this element. You know what I mean? They had the
yeah,
guidelines where it was like, dude, I just have to figure it out, I guess.
yeah,
But then that
yeah,
made me like, okay, like the grid is the grid, bro. And that's the advantage of being a drummer is like everything's based off rhythm. So at least I don't ever have to wonder what I want the rhythm to sound like. Even if I don't know the melodic instrument like scales and all the chords as well. It's like, bro, like I was saying before, I got the rhythm, so I can figure out what I want to sound like through trial and error of like, oh
yeah.
no, that's the wrong note. Oh, that's not in the scale. Oop, yeah, that one worked. You know.
Oh, it sounds good.
But like my rhythm's on point. Like I know what I want my bass line to sound line or to sound like rhythmically before I ever figure out like the tonality of it.
Yeah,
So like That's the drummer brain approach, I guess, of trying to be a melodic musician. But you know what I mean?
And then melodic musicians can just program drums, so it's not
Well,
there. It's
dude,
not.
and then
They don't
it's
have to
yeah,
worry about it.
dude, and all the virtual plugins and all the VSTs, everything sounds so real too.
Yeah, and
Like,
from what I understand, the virtual instruments with melodic instruments are getting even better and better, which enables drummers to be able to create without necessarily having to pick up the instrument itself.
yeah,
And there's benefit
which is
there's
cool, man.
benefits and all that
Yeah,
for
because it's
sure
like
in terms
just a
of growth
different,
as a musician.
yeah, 100%. Because even if you're just trying to play the loops, learn how to make your own drum loops, dude. Because like I love a lot of those free drumless tracks that are all over YouTube and crap, and I do use a lot of them, but some of them it's like just two riffs and then it gets super repetitive and monotonous, and I'm like, bro. And then some of them will be like a whole structured song. So just like anything, you got to find the good stuff. But
Yeah,
it's a cool outlet to be available to you. If like, okay, I need to practice in seven, but I hate playing to a metronome. Okay, let me pull up this MIDI instrument, put on this crazy cool whatever low bass synthesizer, and just put in like two or three instrument sound. That's a cool part I learned about Pharrell in school, and it made me like listen, like because I loved the band Nerd growing up.
yeah,
It was like when he came out with like his rock band,
yeah,
and they were sick, dude.
yeah. I
But
remember them.
yeah, and then I mean, then he went on to produce everybody. But in his tracks, he likes as little instruments as possible. And then I went back and listened to all his crap, and I was like, oh yeah, dude, it's like a bass. It's like the drums, a bass line, and like some weird sound. Go listen to Drop It Like It's Hot.
Yeah,
Like the biggest song when I was in high school, like junior year, senior year,
yeah.
whenever that was.
Not a lot going on.
Every party I was at, bro.
Yeah.
Doom, 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 doom. Dude, serious. It's the freaking whistles, that bass line, and their freaking raps, bro. And that's like the whole song. Like the Timeless, if you listen to The Weeknd,
Hang
Timeless
on.
off his new record, dude. And it's Pharrell produced, and it's literally like kick, bass, and their vocals, and a couple weird like synthesizer sounds. And it's like the coolest track on that whole album to me. That one and the Justice one. And the whole album, really. I love The Weeknd. I have no shame. That dude's awesome.
Why
If his
would you have
tickets
shame?
weren't like 3 grand to go to his show in Atlanta, I would go. But
Is that what they're
it's,
going for? Where's it at?
I think State Farm. It's got to be State Farm or
Where that?
Mercedes Benz, maybe even. No, it's Benz, dude. Because like
Find
Ghost is
that.
doing it State Farm, which is crazy because they were at the hockey arena right here last, and then I saw them at the Roxy before that, and then they were at the Tabby before that, and I saw them at a crazy small place in Chattanooga in 2016, and then at the Tabby again. So it's crazy, even in a 10-year span of being a fan of Ghost. Like, I think the
Watching their
first time they
progression.
came to Atlanta, they played Masquerade like outside at the old Mask. They did an outside show with like Faith No More.
What?
Yeah,
What year would that the old Masquerade
20,
got
2009,
torn?
20. Well, that was after I moved here when it got torn down. So I moved here in
Yeah.
2012. So it
Okay.
was probably that era or before.
Yeah.
Because it was still around for like 4 or 5 years before they
Yeah.
tore it down
It
since
was
I've been
fairly
here.
recent.
Yeah.
I went and watched my buddy Max, actually both of my buddies, Max and Victor, shout out to Lost Hearts. I went and watched them at the new Masquerade, bought tickets, didn't know that there was a new Masquerade. I didn't even know.
Oh, dude.
Dude.
They moved it to Kenny's
So I went
Underground.
I went to the old one.
Yeah,
Like
yeah. Murder Kroger.
I
All that
felt
over
like
there.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um and it wasn't even
The
there.
Chipotle and Drunken Unicorns over there. I love Drunken Unicorn. I saw Intronaut and Cloud Kicker and Tesseract in that room. Stood right in front of the sound man's booth,
Yeah.
right up against that wall all night.
Perfect spot.
Oh, bro, it was so amazing. Yeah. Stand by the
Yeah.
sound man. When in
Yep.
doubt, go stand by the
100%.
soundboard.
Yep. That's
Like, I
as
know
good
you want
as
to
it.
go friggin' mosh and everything, but if you're trying to listen, soundboard. Like, I bought Tool tickets on the floor for Fear Inoculum tour before they dropped that record.
I was there.
Oh,
If it
dude,
was in
2019 in
yep.
Birmingham.
No, I wasn't there. I assumed you were talking about Atlanta.
So that would have been 2020, January, when you
Okay.
saw him, because you saw
Okay.
him here. But that's the
Yep.
same tour before the album came out, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
Sick.
dude, so sick. But I just paid like an arm and a leg for sound or for floor tickets by the sound guy. Because I was like, dude, I've seen him in an arena up top and it was still sick with Primus. It was so sick. But I just wanted the sound man experience, dude. So
Yeah.
I know better. Like Opeth, when I saw Opeth stand behind the sound man, it was so, yeah.
I
At
got
the
ruined
Eastern.
at the Eastern.
Yeah, Opeth and Mastodon. It was
Oh,
amazing.
I bet that was amazing.
So good.
You just listed like 8 bands that I need to go see and haven't seen.
Oh, bro, I've
That's
seen them
the thing
all. You
about
gotta go. You gotta
let's
go.
let's go. That's the
Hell
thing
yeah.
about working all the time though, is every time there's a good show in town, we have a gig.
Yeah. No,
Oh,
no doubt. If it's on a weekend or like even random days during the week, because usually I work more musicians hours actually during the week too and during the weekends. So that's
yeah,
a nice luxury that affords my lifestyle instead of having to do the bounce back. Because like the corporate band gigs, I would be getting home, bro, like 8, 9 in the morning, and then it would kind of like destroy my whole week
yeah.
because that night off of sleep.
Yeah, you're
And
basically
like
dealing
we're
with
old, bro.
jet lag. It's like jet
Yeah.
lag at that point.
It's not like when I was 22 and hop on a bus and was indestructible. It's like, no, bro.
Yeah.
I feel it. We just played drums all weekend, and we work out. Like, bro, your body is like not enough recovery mode. If your sleep's affected, especially,
Yeah.
then it's like, bro, your body is no never. You know how you plug your phone in to get juice at night? Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
you
what
need
sleep
that,
is, man.
especially after playing a show.
Yeah,
It's such a
food
physical thing.
and rest.
Yeah.
What do you kind of do for like food and nutrition and stuff? Like show
Um,
days in particular. And not
well,
even like what you eat, but like do you eat? Like when do you eat? Do you like to
right.
eat before you play? Do you
Oh
wait
yeah.
till after? All
It's
those scenarios.
like pretty much every band that I've been in for the last 10 years, it's always a joke. I get wings. I get as like anywhere from 10 to 12 hot wings and
Nice. Before you play?
fries. Yep.
Nice.
Yep. The
Smash.
but to be honest with you, my philosophy with that, I've never really had like a rigid philosophy. I just like wings.
Right. I
My
mean, they
my
hit, bro. They're
but
delicious.
if well, and I like I said, I burn a ton of calories because I play with I don't know. I just burn a lot
You're a
of
showman,
calories.
bro.
I like that part of it. And so
No, you're good at
I
it too.
lean into that vibe.
Yeah,
And it'll wear you out. But honestly, what's more important to me is not feeling rushed. I don't if I start to get stressed out in any way,
yeah,
then no amount of food or no amount of rest can compensate for trying to diffuse that anxiety
for sure.
because I'm not always successful at diffusing it. And once that ball gets rolling, it's hard for me to shut that off, even by playing, it can be a snowball effect for me where I can't get in the zone or I can't vibe if
Yeah.
I'm stressed out
Monkey.
because I showed up to the gig 30 minutes late or whatever. So I always try to be there at least an hour early before everybody else gets there so that I don't feel rushed. And if any problems occur with inputs or like just routing or anything can go wrong. You know how that
Oh
kind of
yeah.
stuff can go.
So many
Or
possibilities.
when you're
Took
always
us an hour
relying
to
on
set this up tonight, bro. So
and when you're dealing with live sound, you're reliant on so much on other people, like the sound guy.
yeah,
So like
100%.
he could be having a bad day. So I want him to feel like he's got enough time
Yeah,
after I'm set up to do his job.
yeah. Because that's like the
Real
last thing you're trying to do is make anyone else's job harder, bro. Our job, by
yeah.
doing our part of like setup.
Yeah, I want to basically not exist. I
Yeah,
mean,
make it seamless. Like, bro, I'm not even here. Like, my stuff's on stage, but you
there
didn't
it
see
is.
me.
Yep. And if it's like a complicated setup or something, if I'm doing something wacky or something, trying something new, then I try to run that by the sound guy. But as far as nutrition goes, um, philosophically speaking, I think that if you're waiting until show day to eat healthy for any particular reason, then you're probably too late
Yeah.
to
Oh,
the
for
game
sure.
to the game. So I've always tried to eat decent, I don't have a rigid diet by no means, but I watch what I eat
Yeah.
as much as I can. And I will say that certain foods, if you gorge on certain technique was just the pain that I was in when I was playing. And I
Yeah.
try I tried everything to try to mitigate that, but ultimately it was just bad technique and I addressed that. But that's what I do, man. It's literally wings and French fries.
Dude. That's
But then
it's gonna hit
I'm
though every time. It's a
I,
consistency. It's like your kit. It's like you know
it,
what it's gonna be, and in the
I
places you we play, man, it's like I learned that traveling around the country. It was like because I played a bunch of bars like that. It was like, bro, get a burger everywhere you go.
something heavy.
They might have some fancy crap on the menu.
Yeah.
It might catch your eye, but get a friggin' like something that you know is gonna be like substantial, like you're
That's
saying.
why
You
it's
need the
always wings
calories,
for me
bro.
because I know that it works. Yeah, because by
Yeah.
the time, and you just played a 4 hour set the other week, like last weekend, like by the end of that set, you were probably starving,
Yeah,
whether
burned
you
out.
whether you ate before that or not,
Yeah. And
because you
dehydrated as heck because that
just
room was
ran a marathon.
yeah, that room was toasty, boy. Toasty. Got me burning.
So what's your go-to? So it's like just a burger, or I
Well,
mean,
no, I'm kind of like you in the effect that like it's more like a lifestyle thing of how I eat.
yeah,
Because when I got into fitness, it was way later in life. But and then I found this dude that just had the philosophy, and it's the common thing, but it just simplified everything, just calories in, calories out. And that changed like my whole relationship with food and everything. And I bought some of his stuff, like his cookbook and diet books, and I did it real consistently for a few months and got like so shredded, bro. It was insane. But I couldn't eat like that. Like I just don't like to like eat like that. Like
super.
force eat. Well, no, just even the amount of food. Even like when I've done other diets, like bodybuilder dudes will tell you gotta eat. Yeah. It's like, bro, my genes. You aren't taking into effect my genes, bro.
That's a huge factor.
Like
That's
you are, yeah.
probably the
That's
biggest
the
factor.
biggest, yeah. Every
Yeah.
Mr. Olympia, dude, because I look up to all those cats, man. Like all the Mr. Olympias, bro. I've watched so many hours of those guys, and they're literally just like, no, I'll go into like a competition and tell you like who should not be there, based on their genes alone.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't have the genes for this,
Yeah.
and dude, it is
That's
that type
such a
of
thing.
thing.
You can't change that.
No, you can't. Like, what are you gonna do? I can't
So
do anything about it. So I say all that to say, like, for me, I don't really like eat a specific, like I have to eat this. I'm a big fan of just like simple crap on my way to gigs. Because I don't really eat a lot during the day anyway. Just in general, not gig days anyway. I just don't eat for the first however many 6 hours I'm awake, 7 hours. And then
yeah.
I'll eat something like PB honeys or PB jellies
Yeah.
and then whatever. Get dinner like later at night. Because that's kind of how my days are more wired. Even if I wake up like at 8, I still like am on the musician nocturnal
Yes.
lifestyle. I don't know if it's just because it's in the back of my head, knowing that like on the weekends I gotta get up and then like or stay out late. I mean, my bad. Like working essentially.
Yeah.
So it's like
Yeah.
if I can just if nothing affects my like schedule to do that normally, and I just have always stayed up late anyway, bro. That's just how I am.
I prefer it.
So and like not that I eat late at night, but like on like the way to gigs, I'll usually munch something like that, like two or three like PB honeys, and then like some pretzels and like drink a crap ton of water. I'll drink like sodas beforehand for some caffeine if I'm dying.
Yeah.
Just because I ain't drinking coffee before gigs. But
No,
no, bro.
no,
Coffee's cut off, bro.
I would
Uh,
cramp up with a bunch of caffeine.
Oh, okay.
Every so often, if I'm leaving work and going to a gig and just don't have energy, I'll hit a Red Bull, but it has to be it has to be at least 2 or 3 hours before we start playing so that my body has time to process it. Otherwise,
Yeah.
I'll start to cramp up because this gets into the genetics thing. Um, I would say that I probably have more fast twitch muscle fibers, so like short bursts of energy is where I excel.
Yeah.
And that comes through in my playing. So when I watch videos of me playing live, I will, or even now that I've seen videos of me playing live more and more, I'm more attuned to it when it's happening in real time. But I will just kill it for the first couple verses or and chorus of a song, and then the last half I'm like gassed, and
Yeah.
I've got fish
Yeah.
face because I'm breathing through my mouth to get as much
Yeah.
air as possible.
Yeah, man.
So I have to like learn to pace myself in that regard because of those short bursts of energy, I'll just go all out when I'm starting to feel it, you know.
Yeah.
And obviously, like you can condition yourself out of that, but I just don't play enough live to do that. I've actually always wondered what it would be like to be on tour and be playing a
Like
show
all the time.
4 or 5
4 or
show,
5.
where
Yeah.
where by, mid tour or even a few shows or a few weeks into the tour, your body's conditioned for that, where you can give it that 110% the whole time,
Yeah.
because I've tried running, I've tried push-ups, I've tried, just like exercising to try to condition for the art to play the show,
Yeah.
and it never translates because when you know how it is when you're playing drums, you're using so many small muscle groups,
Oh, tons of them. Yeah.
that you don't get, they don't get that workout doing anything else.
No. Unless you buy
um
like the guitar finger strengthener little things and
for
like
sure, but
diligently go after it. But it's not the same as a live setting. Your
well,
adrenaline isn't
when
cooking
that
when you're doing
adrenaline
this.
kicks in, man,
Yeah.
and if
Yeah.
you're in it, it's like you're not even aware of what you're doing,
Yeah.
that you're burning yourself out. You're just vibing off of it, and then you go until your body tells you to stop, basically.
Yeah.
But you've got to keep playing.
Yeah. And
Um,
that's where like just your average length of gig, I think, and just like style of music and crap. Because when I was doing metalcore shows with like a half-hour time slot, bro, yeah, I was going ham
yeah, you
and like being
can.
animated, all that crap. But
Yeah,
it's like, dude, if I'm doing like a 4 hour, 3 hour gig, bro, yeah, no,
you're
I
pacing.
ain't burning myself out. And
Yeah,
that's like only through trial and error where I have burned myself out countless
yeah, you
times. And
figure it
then you
out the
still
hard
have
way.
2 freaking hours to play. And
Yeah,
your right calf is like literally feeling like it's about to explode. And you're like, dude, I still have to play like all these songs, dude.
I'm glad it's not
And
just me.
oh, no, no. Heck
Because
no. Because I'll
I
notice
burn,
now,
it burns. I'm
dude,
like, I'm
oh
doing
my,
something wrong.
dude, yeah, bro. Like they're tapping, bro. Yeah, because I noticed like definitely since I've been running in ears, like there's a certain point whether somehow just I can't hear my mix as well as when I set it initially, and I'll notice like I'll physically start playing like way friggin' harder. Like I'll feel it.
Oh
And it's
yeah.
like a mental connection of when I notice it, I'm like, oh crap. I'm like, dude, I'm playing too hard. Like kind of back off. Or I won't. Like sometimes I'll recognize it and some other times I won't even like I'll feel it and know I'm doing it but not care. Cause like we're
So
playing like an intense song and I'm like, dude, I'm not gonna I know I'm playing loud. It's supposed to be loud.
it's supposed to be
Like
it's a
drums are
rock
loud.
show. It's a rock show.
Yeah, yeah, drums are loud. But then other times it's like, bro, I know this is like a 20-minute medley and this like we end with a crazy song. So like our Jimi Hendrix medley, for instance, we end with Fire at the end of like a 20-minute medley. And we play it way fast,
Yeah.
too fast. And I play all single kick on that. I try not to cheat with the doubles on any of that, double bass on any of that fast stuff.
Yeah.
Just a and bro, yeah. It's like depending on where that's at in the set, or like some shows, those cats would put like all the drum solo songs just all back to back. There's literally one show where I did like 4 drum solos within like the first half hour of our show, bro. And I was just like, bro, what is going on? Like, did I do something?
Nobody
Am I,
consulted me when this set list
yeah,
was made.
did I spend some money that I wasn't supposed to or something? What's going on?
They're looking at you like, what's your problem? What's your
Dude, yeah, man. Because
need
like
to
to your
try?
point, it's like a few of those drum solos are kind of like I play more verbatim rather than improvise. Like some of the songs I improvise every solo, or at least try to, as best I can. And then other songs I have like a written more kind of wipeout style solo on one of them, the one I'm talking in particular
Yeah.
with that, where it's like I gotta play the
Yeah.
for like 16 bars, eight, whatever the frig it is. Yeah, 16 bars.
Yeah.
And then tomages too. And it's like, bro,
Man,
I'm playing all loud and like my hands are starting, and my legs are starting to burn. I'm like, oh no.
you're
But
being modest, man, because I remember watching y'all at 37 Main, and I don't know which song it was that y'all throw that solo into, but
it's boots were made for walking. Yeah.
you did what I always thought would be cool to do but never could do. You basically you that you started doing that with your feet. Like you switched from the hands and
Oh,
started doing
dude.
it with your feet. And
That's awesome.
granted, you weren't like accenting like that, but
Like
it
that
was it
outline, yeah.
was it was just the vibe of it, and it just the bottom dropped out of it, and it was like heavy.
Dude, that's
And
sick,
I
man.
I
That's
flipped
cool
out.
you
I was
remember it.
like, yeah,
That's
because it
awesome.
was like I said, it was like something that I always thought would be super cool to do, but just couldn't.
Yeah.
And when you did it, I fell apart. I couldn't believe it.
Dude,
It
that's
was
awesome.
it was killer.
Okay, thanks, man. Because that's like one of those improv moments. Because usually I try and do like mostly single kick following the right hand accent
Yeah.
pattern on that or the accent line on that.
Yeah.
And just
Yeah.
follow. But then sometimes I will like, all right, bro, I got a 16th note these full and
Yeah. It
let it
was
rip.
mm, mm.
But sometimes it's
I
like
gotta
it's
come
all
see y'all
a
live
dude
again.
thing. I mean, dude, I gotta see you. You've come to a lot of our shows. I That's awesome that you
I'll
do.
pop in from now and again.
Yeah. Roll through when you got time. But yeah, that's like one of those things when it's totally like how I'm vibing at that show. Cause like to your point, it's like, man, not that we're like prima donna bros or anything, but like life is life, dude. Like sometimes you show up and something you're just not vibing that day or
Something's
you're
eating
in
you
your
up
head or
or
whatever it
whatever.
is, man.
Yeah.
And the exact opposite. Some days you show up and it's like everything's burning down around you, but you're like, bro, I'm playing my drums. We're doing this show. Like, heck
Yeah,
yeah.
you want to play to forget about that stuff or
Yeah,
whatever. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like the best. I mean, and that's anything in life. Like when I taught all the time, it was great, but then I burned out on that and wanted to play more. And then when I played all the time, it was like, bro, I can't do this crap at all. No, bro, I need some students again. And then it was like always that balance for me of like I love the offsetting kind of pillar effect of like if I am wanting to kind of be more dedicated to this, I have the freedom to like let it kind of do its natural swaying and then lean into one or the other, depending
Yeah.
on kind of where I want to go.
But that's
But
what's
they're
cool.
always both going on, regardless. It just depends on do I want to be in like five bands right now and only teach a little or teach more and then be in one band? So,
That brings up a question that I have about mannerism because y'all don't do it like anybody else. Y'all kind of recreate the covers and throw your own nastiness into it, which
you
is
know, the own
sick.
spin.
So sick. So
Yeah,
like
that's,
did that just happen naturally or did y'all consciously come up with that template? You know what I mean? Or were y'all all just rebels and like I'm not playing it note for note, I'm going to do my thing, or was it, you get what I'm saying or what
yeah.
I'm asking?
No, I get it 100%. So their old drummer, Tommy, was mine and Lewis's old student.
Mm-hmm.
And like he's like my little nephew, bro. I love him. He's awesome. He's a
Yeah.
great drummer. He's at
He's
Berkeley.
at he's at Berkeley. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And then his dad is like the owner of the studio Lewis and I have taught out of for like 7 years now
That's
together.
the connection. I see.
Yeah. And we've
Okay.
known him since like 2015, dude. So I knew Tomcat when he's like tiny guy, bro.
Coming up.
Yeah, man. And he was hungry for it. So I was like, dude, I'll show you. Like, if you'll work, bro. His dad, like when he opened, he was like, bro, if you get him into Berkeley, that's all I want out of drum lessons with you. Just get him into Berkeley. Get him ready for Berkeley is actually what he said. And I was like,
Yeah.
dude, I have the template, bro. I work at a school that's basically like a little friggin' dwarf cousin of
Like a funnel
Berkeley at the
system for
time.
Berkeley. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, whether people went there or not, it's like the same. foundational, like, but Berkeley's just on like, they're the NFL compared
I
to
see what you're saying. Yeah.
like high school league. But well, I say all that not to dog them or anything, but because I got so much out of that school, and for someone like me that didn't want to go to Berkeley, AIM was like the perfect fit.
Yeah.
Like, bro, I'm not spending 200 grand to go do something I would just literally was doing. I know I need
Yeah.
to get better at drumming, but I don't care about any of this other crap.
Yeah.
So I'll go to a school that's going to make me a better drummer because I was already touring. Like, why do I need to go to a school and to teach me how to tour? Like, that wasn't
Right.
my goal with that.
Yeah.
And granted, I didn't get the network of a Berkeley, obviously, but I also don't have 200 grand of debt to do what I'm doing right now.
Yeah. I understand. That was
Not
why I
that,
didn't. That was why I didn't go to AIM.
yeah,
Because I mean, on a much to scale it down, like I'm a step below
but it's the
you.
same thing.
Yeah, I just didn't want. I didn't want to spend the money on something. I already had gigs. Yeah, I
Yeah,
wanted to become as good of a drummer as I possibly could, but at the time when it was a possibility for me, I even got accepted. I went
yeah,
so far as to apply and get accepted, but my son was 6 at the time, and it was like, do you want to work and provide for your child, or do you want to, at what 33, 34 years
go back
old,
to school
go back to school and
in
try
a
to and
in
and
a
and try
city
to
that,
like
yeah.
learn something that you're kind of already doing and successful with.
Well, and that's like credit to technology, dude. It's like, cause like how we grew up, it was like, bro, like not to get into that topic, but like school wasn't like a focal point in my reality. So like I didn't even know like what I had no idea what I wanted to do at 18, like college wise. Like, no way.
Yeah,
Heck no.
I didn't
Like I
either.
had no idea. Even like at 20, whatever. It took me till like 25 to go to music school.
Yeah,
And that was only because like I just needed to for me. Like I wanted to get better as a drummer, and that's how I saw I could do it. So I was
yeah,
like, I
you were
need to go
driven to
there.
do that.
Yeah.
And that was AIM when you were 25. Is that when you were at
Yeah,
AIM?
that's when I moved here. Yeah.
That was
To
okay.
2012.
I was under the
So
for some reason I thought it was later in your life that you went to AIM, like recent within the last decade.
now
But
it's 20,
okay.
25. I started at 25, graduated 2013. And then I started working there a year after I graduated, so 2014. And I worked there all the way till the beginning of 2022.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was awesome, man. Like, and that's what I mean. And like, I had so much more experience. I'm glad I went at 25. Screw going at 18 for me, bro. That would have been a fail.
Yeah.
112,000%. Like, I already had so much life experience by the time I moved here. Like, just to even move 2,000 miles away and not have anyone like close or anything and not like have that affect you and just like, whatever, dude, I'm here to work. And then even now, it's still like, I don't have any family here, nothing. It's just me here, like, doing my thing, man.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, so I just had like I treated like, bro, all not to throw shade, but like people didn't even like take notes and stuff. Like I'm over here like a freaking like a scribe for the class or stenographer. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like let me fix my
Let
glasses.
me turn
But
my
I was
hat
like, dude,
around.
yeah, I already went to college for like gen eds and then a computer degree.
Yeah.
I never did anything with it, but I have it. So like I knew how to be a student. And that's what a lot of people didn't know how to do. Like to even and just like that's not their fault. It's just like I already had the experience of going to other colleges
Yeah.
and like knowing that, yo, bro, you might want to like write down the information you're paying for.
Yeah. There's a
Like all the
curriculum.
money that
Yeah.
you're giving to this
Exactly.
institution is all for like if you can get it out of them. Like, dude, for instance, I don't know how many people knew about a scholarship at AIM, but when I was there, you couldn't get it your first quarter. So you're only there for a year. So 3 months you can't get it for your tuition. But every month, every quarter after that, so for the next 9 months, you could get up to like, what was it, $1,500 in the scholarship? And all you had to do was show up to your classes, get your grades, and write them some like rinky-dink essay of why you thought you should get the money. And I did it, dude. And that's like $4,500 off of my $18,000 tuition, bro.
Yeah, that's
Just
huge.
from
Just
already just being there and being a good student, bro. That's not even like the financial aid from government and anything, which I
right.
didn't get a lot of, but like
Hey, at
that
that
was like
age, any
free
bit
money, bro.
helps. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Like what you're just gonna turn down $4,500 when you should be here anyway?
Yeah.
Like, no, bro. Just give me that money. I'm glad no one else knew about it or cared about it to try and sign, or maybe I was the best. I don't know. I never got the story, but I don't really care. I got the money.
You got the
So,
dough.
dude, for sure.
That's
And it's just
cool.
like one of those things, like if you have like why are you even here? Whether you're
If you're
paying
if
your whether it's your money or your parents' money, regardless, bro, like what are you wasting this money for? That's a lot of money. And that's like a little school. And that's just to prove and back up my point of where I came from of like denying going to like an MI and living in downtown Hollywood and like going to a school like that, dude. Like my dad's a mechanic, bro. Like
yeah,
we're middle, lower, like lower to maybe middle class. Like when
yeah,
I grew up, so it
yeah,
wasn't like a thing. And then definitely like with how I grew up, like that, like going to a 4-year school was never like a point of emphasis in comparison to like meeting people down here or like ex-girlfriends, whoever, homies of like, no, dude, like I knew what school I was going to like my junior year. I knew where I was going to college and what I was going to do. It's like my life was not that linear. There
yeah.
was like a gap in between there where I just didn't know what I wanted to do.
Oh, me
Like a
too,
3 or 4 year gap. And then luckily I found my boy Chris found me and rescued me from where I grew up, man. And then I toured for the next 3 years and got out of there.
Is
And
that
then
how
I've
you and
never,
Chris got hooked up? Y'all toured in a band
so
previous to?
not mannerism Chris, my homie Chris
Gotcha.
is
Okay.
yeah, too many Chris's,
Okay.
but yeah.
Them fucking
And I've met him
Chris's.
through a random experience too, man. So it was just like it was meant to be type thing.
Yeah.
Well, just for
Okay.
me to get out of there and just see that there's like a different part of life that I didn't even know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and to be able to play, dude, I was 22. Like, yeah, I'm gonna hop on a bus and go play in every state I can, and like, it was
I would have
amazing.
totally done that at that age
Yeah, bro.
if I had that opportunity.
Dude, I graduated with that computer degree literally like 2 weeks before that, and then hopped on the bus and bounced, dog. I had a job and everything. I had an internship I did when I was in school, and then I got hired by that dude, a computer guy. Like he had
Yeah.
his own computer shop with like 2 or 3 employees, and I was already doing like all the work that I would have been doing. And I was working, and then I was just like, nah, dude, I'm gonna join this band and like I'm gonna go on tour, bro.
Yeah. Live the dream.
Yeah, and it
You know,
wasn't extravagant when you tell them you went on tour, they're like, it's like, nah, man, nah.
it's funny. I think everybody assumes it's like Warp Tour or something
Or that
like
you're in a bus and like, bro, like, no,
yeah.
dude. I said I
Yeah.
was in a bus, but it's like a PTA converted bus. It's like old as hell and like, yeah, not like a $600,000 house on wheels, bro.
Yeah.
Definitely not that experience.
Yeah, but at least you had the experience and it probably made you a better, not only a better musician, but a better person,
Oh, for sure.
you know?
And it just teaches you to deal with crap like head on, dude, as far as like situations you're in. As far
Yeah.
as like, I think I was telling you the other day, like just like being totally not wanting to be there in Philadelphia. I could remember the on the side of this road, bro, just not wanting to be there. And I was like, what am I gonna do? I have a 7-piece drum set in the friggin' trailer and all my hardware, all my cymbals, all my clothes I own are in this bus, dude. Like, what am I gonna do? Fly home and ship all that out? No, bro. Nope. I'm just deal. Power
Yeah.
through.
Figure it out.
And you learn a lot, man. Like, because we had to just do it. There wasn't anybody saving you, so we had to figure it out.
Sink or
And
swim.
yeah, and you learn a lot. Not that, I mean, yeah, you want to have people around you that help you. Of course, I want to be around people and help them. It's not, I'm not saying it like that. I'm meaning it more like some crap's never, it's just like my teacher would tell me, you're going to play a lot of music you hate, bro, and you would not want to play. But if you're trying to be a working musician, there you go. That's what it
Yeah,
is.
that's like we're almost full
If
circle
you
with
if you're
that
trying to
part of the
play your
conversation.
music, start a band and make sure you have creative control. Because otherwise, as a drummer, for sure, like you're gonna play whatever the artist is telling you. Even Chris Coleman, it's like, bro, I'm doing what the artist is telling me. That's literally what he was saying in that interview last night.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
The
it's
best
like,
of the some of the best of the best. Like,
yeah,
but that's part of being on a team. That's like
for
any
sure.
team, and
And
that's
that's
what a
being
band is.
and drummers, like we're the captain of the team for better or worse, even
Yeah,
though we're in the
for
back.
sure. For sure. Well, it's I think that's by design too,
Yeah.
that we're in the back.
The backbone.
Yeah, the backbone, and also just I get so much out of.
being able to see
I, I,
everyone.
I was telling Dozer this the other day, the lead vocalist in these tribute bands that I play in. It is I'm subconsciously even just constantly analyzing those guys, whoever
Yeah.
I'm watching their body language. I'm seeing
Looking
where
for
their
eye
eyes,
contact,
where
any
eye
kind of
contact,
nod.
where they're
Yeah.
going. If they're not bobbing their head in some way, then I feel like I'm not doing my job.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Because
that's
body language is like the only communication at that point. I can't hear you, you know?
exactly,
As far as
exactly.
like a dialogue speaking wise, I
Yeah,
can hear you, but like you gotta like, okay, bro, we're gonna end here.
yeah,
And if
a hundred.
if you're staring at your snare head, and I'm guilty of that, bro, I'll zone. I'm a zone player, bro. I'll zone out, man. I don't care. I'll zone. I'm like, I know I'm in front of people, man, but I'm playing.
But I bet you're hyper focused on what's going on
I'm what
right
I'm listening
here.
to.
I bet
Yeah,
you're listening
I'm listening
to.
to them play,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm
And
just
see,
only listening to them, and I'm cutting out the visual aspect of it, and just only
yeah,
listening.
but
Because
yeah,
just like to your point, like people are distracting as heck when you're playing sometimes. So I'm like, if you take me out of it, like those camera cats that are all up in my space, like there's nothing quicker than ruining my
bad,
vibe. When all of a
bad.
sudden a camera's in my face and I'm like, whoa,
Yeah.
do I gotta like,
Am I supposed to like
like
give
what do
it
you want?
like what do I do? West side. I don't know
Well,
how
and
to
I'm
what
playing.
do I do with my
So
hand?
it's like, do I look at you like I know you're there? You never talked to me and told me any direction, and you're here to take photos of my band, so you're gonna make me look goofy. Like, then
The
it's just a factor I don't need to even think about. I don't need to think about that guy. I need to be playing drums.
Exactly. Dude, the craziest story that I have about that, if I could just tell a short story
Oh,
about
bro, of
that.
course.
Um um we were playing the House of Blues, and of all the venues, that's just one that you don't need those distractions. And believe it or not, for me, I get distracted by people around
Yeah.
me more in like a bar setting because they're so much closer to you as
Yeah.
opposed to a House of Blues. So like the crowd, I don't even really see. I mean, I see them, but I don't.
Yeah.
It's not an
It's like
intimate
silhouettes.
situation, you know. Yeah, silhouettes and past like the second row, it's just faces.
Yeah.
So so
Whereas
so
a
that
bar, it's like
yeah, they're up on top of you, and
they're
half of
up
them
in
are
you.
wasted, and they
Yeah,
feel like they
dude.
can just walk up on stage, and that's whatever. But
Whoa.
dude, at this show, just to like vibe off of the photography aspect of it, we I get on the drum kit and like we're fixing to start playing, and I like we start with a trash can ending, and and I'm like playing this trash can ending, and I'm looking around, and there's like GoPros mounted to my drum kit. And I was like, I didn't give anybody permission to do this.
Yeah,
Nobody gave
bro.
me a heads up,
Yeah, dude.
nothing. There
Like,
was just,
no.
and so for like the first three songs, I'm like,
Whose cameras are
who
these?
did this and who is
Yeah.
filming me? Where is it getting streamed to or
Yeah, man.
whatever? Like what's going on? It turned out to be like the coolest dude. And he was doing us a solid. He was making us a promo video for free.
Nice. Oh,
And it
that's
was,
cool.
it ended up being killer.
Nice, man.
And
That's cool.
didn't charge us a dime.
Yeah.
And I've had a lot of dialogue with him lately, and he's got some other things coming out because he came to another House of Blues show. But I just told him, I was like, man, if you please just let me know, because that throws me off. If you, I don't mind you putting GoPros and mounting
No, not
stuff
at
up
all.
on my stuff, but that just totally threw me off that show. And like,
Oh, I
but
couldn't even. Yeah. Like,
but I mean,
no.
it was a good show, and I don't want him to think that if he ever listens to this, I don't want him to think that he threw me off so bad that it was a bad show or anything like that. It
No, but
was,
it's just like a surprise when you already drums are so romantic in that sense. Like we talked about you setting them up, and it's a process for your kit.
yeah,
But you know where all that crap should sit. Even my smaller dumbed down kit, dude, it's like I know where everything should be.
yeah,
So if there's like 18 cameras in my face out of nowhere, like whose are these? Whose cameras are these?
well, yeah, you don't
Not that
anything.
it's a big deal or anything, but it's more so just like I'm not right. I'm in a certain zone in mindset,
Yeah,
regardless of the show. Like I'm trying to play, dude, and like listen. And
yeah.
now I'm thinking about your cameras.
It's a thing. It's a thing.
It's a thing.
And if there's any variation, I mean, drummers are probably the worst. Like you can, it's a stepbrothers moment, if you will. Like
Oh, for real, yeah.
if any one little thing is off,
Dude.
you know,
Yeah.
even if you don't set your stuff up the same way every time,
Yeah.
you know when there's something abnormal. It's like in your environment. It's like if somebody were in your house unwelcome, and
Yeah.
you would know they're there.
It's like, dude, I see you looking around the corner, bro. What's going on?
Yeah.
Who are you?
It's a horrible
What are you
analogy,
here? No, it's true though.
but
It's not to the same degree, but it's the same feeling as far as like the surprise
yeah.
factor. Like you're not ready for it. It's a surprise. Who
Mhm.
likes being surprised at our age and doing in a job? You know what I'm saying?
Nobody.
Nobody.
I don't get paid
You
extra
see
for
all those
that.
no, bro. You see all those mascots that almost get annihilated by football players when they do that crap in the tunnels, and they'll have the
Mhm.
person in the mascot, dude, and they almost get pwned every time.
Good. Their
Like some of
butt
those dudes run
kicked.
away, but some of those dudes are ready to throw down.
Yeah.
So not that it's like that, but it is like just a surprise factor of like it's the same thing what you're talking about. Some drunk dude coming up and start messing with your stuff while you're playing. Or some guy coming up to the vocalist mic and start yelling to his friends like in between songs.
Yeah.
Like, bro, what are you doing?
Yeah.
It's not a big deal, but it is a big deal just because like get a band together, get on stage if you feel like you need to be on stage.
Yeah.
Like there's a process to get up here, bro. Even if we are at like not a big gig,
Right.
like you still kind of have like the pass is like, dude, I'm supposed to be up here. You're a patron right now.
Yeah.
If
Not
we're at
to
a
like,
live band karaoke, then yeah, get up here. But not that I think I'm that special or anything, but it's a setting. It's like you don't go to some theater and a play and get
yeah.
on stage, bro. Or
Yeah.
you don't go play a basketball game when you're not a basketball player and not on the
I'm
team.
not gonna run on I'm not gonna run on the court in the middle of a March Madness game or something,
Dude,
you know.
right? But if you're cool and like personable and people feel comfortable, then, you know, whatever. And
And
then
sometimes
drunk, alcohol. Alcohol is the biggest factor
that's a huge
for
factor.
those 2 points I just gave as far as belligerent behavior. It's mainly alcohol.
Yeah, but
But
sometimes it can work in your favor in terms of inspiration too.
yeah,
The randomness of people, like how
oh,
they
for
act. And
sure.
so I know in my
A
case,
thousand
like,
percent.
so I'm not griping about people should be spontaneous and have a good time, and that's why we're there is to entertain
Yeah.
them. And if
Entertain
that's how
them.
they express it, then you got to take the good with the bad.
Oh, 100%.
And a lot of times, but the good can also become a distraction because
Yeah,
I'll zone out on something going on that I'm
me
digging,
too.
that because they're vibing off of it, but then I'm like, oh crap, are we in the second verse, or and I start having to listen to the vocalist to figure out where we're at. But
Yeah.
you know how that goes.
Just miss little cues where it's like, oh man, I was distracted. I was
Yeah.
definitely distracted there.
Yeah.
And then like, after the show, you're like, dude, you see that guy fall over the friggin' monitor and like break his head on the floor? And then proceed to just get up and dance like nothing happened.
Like nothing happened
Dude,
because
have
you're
you ever played at Tom's in Cartersville, bro?
no.
Do you
I don't
know
think I've
that place?
ever played any show in Cartersville.
Cartersville?
I don't think.
Yeah, that was in my old band, Cranked and then Afterglow. We played at this place called Tom's Place, bro. And it was like one of those shows where I just knew like I was just gonna watch people the whole time. Like
Oh, I've played those kind
like
of.
7 foot ceilings, dude, and they could smoke in there, and it was
Yeah,
just like just mayhem, dude. It's so
man,
crazy.
you know where I'm from. I've definitely played shows like
Yeah,
that
you
where
played them gigs for sure.
the people watching is better than the gig itself.
Then the gig, yeah. Or just the distraction of the people watching. It was like, oh crap, dude. Like, yeah, man. Just interesting. It's just an interesting reality, man.
Hey, we got
Whatever
like
level you're at.
1 minute and 23 seconds, or
Sweet. Do
might
another
have
one?
run out of time. Why not?